Say ciao guys, hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Strive with Melo. Today we are moving straight to a place called Gomwa Yenyano, which will take us about 40 to 45 minutes, and we are going to meet a very special person. This man is my brother-in-law, so this conversation definitely is going to be special. If you're new here, kindly like this video, subscribe, leave a comment after watching the video, and if you're already a subscriber like we do it, I salute you guys. Join me, let's go to Gomoyano and have a conversation with this man about how he made a journey from Ghana till he settled in the United Kingdom. Let's do this.
My name is Theophilus Kofi Ampa. I was born in Gomoyano, where I am today. I went to school here up to standard 7 when I left the shores of Ghana. We went to the American Embassy, applied, we were refused. So that was
Heartbreak.
that was a heartbreak. So Chumama just sat for a while, went back in his chair, and he said, "Look at my face," and then said, "Mr. Ampa, your journey is improper." I remember the exact word he told me. I've never regretted anything in life. All these things happen for a reason. I don't have any aim to enter mainstream politics. I've retired from politics completely, but I will still campaign for my party when the need come for me to. I will campaign for them, but not on the front line or looking for positions or whatever. No, I've other things in life. So it's important to get your back and know that exactly what you want to do in life and then plan properly.
Alright, so I finally got here. There is something I've always believed in, which is times and season. You know why? Because I've always wanted to have this conversation with him, but it hasn't materialized. And today, it's time to have that conversation. I just hope that everything ends successfully. So let's do this. I'm at his residence right now, and we will go inside and have that conversation. Let's do it. So, guys, finally, I'm here with my brother-in-law who I've been talking about, that he has a story to share concerning traveling and living abroad. I'm here at his residence and I'll let him introduce himself. Then we start with the conversation. Like I said, I've always wanted to have this conversation, but I was waiting for the actual time. I always believe in times and seasons, and I believe that this is the right time to have the conversation. So you can tell them your name and where you come from and where you live.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, my name is Theophilus Kofi Ampa. I was born in Gomoyano, where I am today. I went to school here up to standard 7 when I left the shores of Ghana. I first went to Monrovia, Liberia, joined my uncle there, and had the apprenticeship as a photographer, and also went to a private school. Like night schools, College of West Africa in Monrovia.
If I may ask, you said you went to Liberia, which is Monrovia.
Yeah,
So was that by your own will to go there, or your uncle decided to take you there?
yeah. My uncle decided when I finished elementary school. My uncle decided, came to inform my mom that he wanted me to go to Monrovia. He had a photographic shop. I was looking for somebody who had a bit of education to to learn photography so I can take over that, the photographic studio. So my uncle sent for me to join him in Monrovia. So as I said, I was there for about 4 years, and then I left Monrovia, and then went to travel with a friend of mine, a Nigerian friend of mine. I met in Monrovia, Peter Duru. So we decided that we want to travel and further our education.
So how was life in Monrovia?
Monrovia
Liberia?
life was okay. It was beautiful, very nice. We have a lot of people from my village who were in Monrovia. My apart from my uncle, and a few of one or two of my brothers and cousins were also there. So where we were living in Monrovia, there's a place called Slipway. It's almost like a Yinyano community. There was a lot of Yinyano guys in that place. So it was very welcoming. When I went there, it's almost like home from home.
And life was good over there as compared to when you were in Ghana.
Definitely was. Those days, Monrovia was like going from Ghana, Yinyano, as I live here, going to a place like Monrovia was like traveling to Europe or somewhere because everything you go there and see is different. Although it's the same African country, but the situation there was slightly different from what it was in Ghana. So life was a lot better because jobs, you can find jobs, and also living in a village like Inyano at the time and then going to a city like Monrovia, very, 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 like a cultural shock, but you eventually get used to it because there's so many of your country folks in the same place. So it was kind of good at the time.
And you said you decided to further your education.
Yes,
So that was the main reason why you wanted to leave
that's right.
Liberia.
That's the main reason why we wanted to leave Liberia because at the time I was very young. I was around about 20 years old, and then I felt that look, there's more things we want to learn. In those days, some of our colleagues and friends were making arrangements and traveling to the Americas and Europe and other places. So we thought we have to have try and see if we can also make a journey outside the Monrovia, outside Africa, and go to a European country somewhere and like greener pastures,
Improve your life.
and maybe improve our lives, a better condition, and things like that. But the difficulty was that I was not in any shape or form financially
Okay.
to sponsor that trip. So my friend Peter was the one he was working with in his brother's supermarket.
So Peter is also from Ghana.
Peter is a Nigerian,
He's a
an
Nigerian.
Igbo man from Peter Duru, from Nigeria, who came to Liberia to join his brother who had a supermarket. So he was in charge of the supermarket. And fortunately enough, we are around about the same age. So almost like we all went there at the same time. So we strike a relationship, became like a brother. So while I was making effort to try and find ways we can travel, Peter was putting the money, the capital in there to support. And while I was bringing the brain, how we get in passport. And also remember those days, the Biafran war has just ended. And Peter from Igbo, from the eastern Nigeria, it was very difficult for him to get a Nigerian passport at the time. So Peter was supporting with finance, going around and see if we can get a passport. Eventually, we got a Sierra Leone passport, and Peter has to change his name from Peter Duru to Peter Masakwe, which was a popular name in Sierra Leone. So we were able to get a Sierra Leone passport for Peter, trying to obtain an Italian visa.
Oh, so you used the right channel to obtain the
Yes,
visa.
yes.
Oh,
So
okay.
we were able to obtain an Italian visa to go to Italy. And then,
But
also,
during those days that you used the right channel, were there people who were using the other ways to also enter Europe,
yeah,
like
but
the way people are doing these days?
those days, time was different because those days it wasn't difficult to get a visa to Europe. It was a bit more difficult going to, America and place like Britain was also in Europe was a bit more difficult. But going to somewhere like Italy, Spain, and things like that wasn't that difficult. And there were a friend of mine, a friend of ours, one boy, a guy called Wood, who was from Sekenita Kradi, who went through the same system. So fortunately, we're in communication with him, and then told us the route he took. So that's why we also took the same. We got a Italian visa, and then went to Vienna. So we left. What is it? We left Monrovia
Monrovia.
around
So,
about
so
April.
how was the feeling? Like a young guy, how was the feeling getting an European visa or Italian visa?
And it was, the feeling was very tremendous because we wanted to travel, and The other aspect of it was my uncle, I was staying, wasn't happy. He didn't want me to go
Okay.
anywhere because he wanted to even send me back to Ghana because he said I was not doing what he
You
wanted
want
me to do. He wanted me to stay in the the studio, but I wanted to better myself. I wanted to have a better education. So I mean, we were not agreeing on what I wanted to do because he wanted me to do one thing and I wanted to do another thing. So I wanted to do one thing and he wanted me to do something else. And eventually, we have to agree to disagree. So while he was trying to find a way to send me back to Ghana, I was also scheming to find a way to leave to leave Monrovia before he sent me to Ghana because he's done it before
yeah.
to a cousin of mine. So I wanted to be sure that that didn't happen to me. So once Peter was in agreement, he wanted to travel, I want to travel. We all had the same idea. The only difference, as I said, was that financially,
You
I
were
I
not there.
I was not capable. So he had the money, and then he was able to buy the ticket for both of us. He paid for the visas and the passport and all those documentation and everything. We
So
have to.
that he was a really good
Oh,
friend.
I was
Like
a very, very good friend. I mean, I say that I owe maybe today or what I am today to Peter because if it wasn't him, I wouldn't have been able to have the resources to travel outside. It would have been very, very difficult.
but is he still alive?
Peter, yeah, Peter is still alive in London. I mean, we haven't seen him or met him for a few years, but he's still around. Yeah,
So what happened from going to Italy? Like
yeah. So what happened? We went to with a Swiss Air from Monrovia. We went to Italy, Rome, and then from Rome we stayed for a night in Rome. God, we've planned all this, and we got a what they call YMCA, I mean hostel,
okay.
young what's it called, Young Men's Christian Association hostel, where we stayed for the night, and then we went to the Austrian embassy, because that's where our friend Wood was.
So it was just like a tourist visa.
Yes, we went with a tourist visa.
So what was the duration of the visa those days?
Although, I mean, I think the visa they gave us was a month.
Okay.
So you got a month visa. So when we arrived in Rome, we booked into the YMCA hostel, and then the following day we went to the Austrian embassy that we had a visa that we want to go to visit Austria because we were as tourists. So they granted a visa also another 1 month, and then we went to Austria. So from Austria, when we got there, we went to our friends. I mean, apartment. Then they gave us the address. We had the address and everything. When we got there, unfortunately, the landlady said that we couldn't stay with them because the house was only for the two of them. So it wasn't. They were not going to allow us to stay. So it was very difficult. Then we have to leave that place. And me having my suitcase and my friend Peter having a suitcase, we didn't know what to go. It was very hard. So the only thing we came to our mind is somebody suggested we should go to the train station, which they call the Hauptbahnhof in Austria. So we went in there, bought a locker. You pay some pfennigs, and then they give you a key, and then you put your suitcase in the locker, lock it up, and then take the key for a certain period of time. Then you can come and get it. So that's what we did. And then from there, we have to decide what to do next. So it was, where do we find to stay? For that day, we couldn't find anybody anywhere. And the money we had, we didn't want to go and spend it in a hotel because so the alternative somebody suggested is that we might stay at a railway station for the night. So we have put our suitcases in a locker and we stayed there at the railway station for the night. And we were sleeping with some Turkish and some Eastern Europeans, and it was very congested, but it was something that was real, not something we would never been able used to. But it was one of the experiences that we had. So we stayed there for the night. And the following day, we set out to try and find some work. Imagine the difficulty was also that
So what? How long were you there? Like the time you decided to find a job, they gave you 1 month
they gave
visa,
us 1 month
and the
visa.
time you were looking for job, how long have you stayed over
No,
there.
I
Yeah.
mean, as I say, when we arrived in Austria, Vienna, the very day we found out we couldn't stay with our friends,
Okay.
so we have to leave. So that very day, went to the railway station, bought lockers and put our suitcases in there, and then we have to I mean, walk around and then see the place. But we couldn't find a place to stay because we have to pay huge sums of money for the hotel.
Yeah.
So we decided we would sleep at the railway station because somebody suggested to us that people sleep there during the night. So we decided to sleep there overnight with our suitcase. That time for about the whole day and night, a couple of days, we haven't showered, we haven't done anything. We're in the same clothes, so we have to sleep there for the following day. And the following day, we'll just wake up and then set out to try and see if we can find something to do. That will bring us some income. And what was happening
A
is that
tourist who is looking for a job.
the tourist was looking for a job, and tourists who had no money in his pocket. And the problem also is that my friend Peter, he had the money. So if Peter decide we're going to eat, we eat.
Yes.
If Peter say he's not hungry,
You don't
I
eat.
mustn't be hungry either. So it was very difficult. So Peter told me I didn't know exactly how much Peter had on him. So when Peter said we haven't got money, I have to believe him that we haven't got money. So when Peter decided that it was a situation that there's no way we could afford a hotel, so we have to sleep over there, sleep at the railway station. So we did. And then the following day, we set out. As we were walking around, we found a photographic studio. Because
You have the
yes, I've
experience.
experience in photography. So I went in there, and both of us went in there. We started talking to the guy who was there. Fortunately, this guy could speak English. One of the difficult things was when we go to Vienna was that it's a German state. You have very few people speak English. Fortunately, we found this boy Rudy, a Ross friend who was speaking English. So we told him our story. Rudy was very, very, understanding and shocked about the situation. So he said, "Look, I have an uncle. This my uncle has got a boys' quarter, what we call a boys' quarters. There they call it outhouse. So if we don't mind, if you go with us to his uncle, he's going to call his uncle, and uncle said we should come. So this Rudy guy took us to the railway station to go and collect our suitcases, put us in his car and drove us some maybe about 30, 40 kilometers outside Vienna. We went there and met, you know, Mr. One, the name is Lexter. And the guy and his wife, they were very friendly. The wife speaks a little bit of English, but her husband didn't speak a word of English, but they were very comfortable and then show us the outhouse, the boys' quarters. So we went in and packed our things and stayed there.
So it means that you get into Austria, we will say we believe in God. So
Yeah.
we will say that definitely God saved you guys through Rudy.
Yes.
Because I believe most people or some people would go there and they wouldn't get anyone to host them.
Yes. That is almost like Rudy was a God sent hero to us because we could have just roamed around the whole of Ghana and wouldn't find anybody who was going to prepared to help us. So Rudy took us to his uncle, and we stayed there. And after we stayed there for a couple of days, and then Rudy's auntie Rudy himself together took us to a company called Semperit, the Thai company, Semperit. So we went there. Only went there, they were both employed me and Peter immediately.
Without asking of your documents.
No, no. Those days, you don't ask. They don't. It was the situation in Europe was different from what it is today. They didn't ask us what papers we had because we told them we were tourists. And then we are students also. So nobody asked us anything. So we worked there at Semperit for some few weeks, and then I think we were there for about a month or so. And then we decided that the way things are, we have to try and because we just decided that Vienna wasn't our
Your
final
final destination.
stop.
Okay.
We had to move on. So we started making inquiries about Canada or America or the United Kingdom. Those were the three countries we wanted to go: Canada, US, or UK. And then eventually, so we went to the American embassy, apply, we were refused. So that was
Heartbreak.
that was a heartbreak. So we have to come back, regroup, and then decided, look, I mean, we have to leave Austria. But what happened was after about 6 weeks or so, when the schools started reopening, it was becoming difficult because they told us that if we are still working there, we need to show our document, our work permit and things. But because schools were on vacation, the assumption is that if you say we are students, schools were on vacation, so it's okay for us to work.
Okay.
But now that schools are open, you can't tell them you are on vacation. If you are a student, you should be in school. So it was very difficult. So we decided, look, I mean, we have to move from Germany and go to move from Austria and then go to Germany. For those days, Germany was much bigger. They had more, black people or Africans more in Germany than it is in
And those
Austria.
days you needed visa from Austria to Germany
No,
because you applied for visa from Italy to Austria, right?
yeah, to Austria.
But from Austria to Germany,
We didn't need a visa.
okay,
It's 1972 during the Buzia regime. They had some relationship with Ghana. They
okay,
had the pact. So when Ghanaians can go to Germany at that time without visa.
okay,
So you could go to Germany with a Ghanaian visa. Nobody will ask you anything. So I mean, when we decided that instead of two of us going together, I will take the lead. Let Peter wait. So we don't want all of us to go together and then getting turned back. But before I left, we decided, look, if we want to make the journey, fruitful, we have to make sure that there won't be an opportunity for them to send us back. Or if they send us back, there was a guarantee for us that we will be accepted back to, Vienna. So we both of us went to Vienna University and registered to do language.
okay.
So Vienna University gave us, admission
So now you're a
letter.
student.
So now we're students in Vienna University. So we are coming to start student. So when we go there and anything happen, we know that we're coming back to Vienna to do language and then do our studies in whatever discipline that we want. So I mean, we decided, okay, let me go first. So I went. I left Vienna and then bought a ticket to Bonn. Those days, Bonn was then the capital of Germany, with the capital of West Germany, because it was the division was there. You have East and West. So I bought a ticket, went to Germany, Bonn, the train, because the train. So you take a train from Vienna all the way to Bonn. I think it took about how many hours? I can't even remember. About, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 hours, something like that. So we got there. I got out again because I didn't know anybody. I knew about this harbor stations where the lockers. So that was the first thing that came to my mind. Let me put my suitcase in the locker, and I can turn around and go and find what I need to do. So when I came out, fortunately I met this guy, barely looking black guy, outside the station. So he looks African. So I approached him, Mr. Moody. So I approached this man, and it turns out that he's a Nigerian who had lived in Ghana for many, 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 many years. So he spoke Twi, but was a Nigerian. So I told him my story, and he said, "Oh, okay. They live in a hostel, which wasn't far from the station. So if I don't mind, you will take me there, and you probably get me a room." I said, "Fine, that's very nice." So I went. I took my suitcase from the locker, got my suitcase, and then followed him. No, it was a walking distance. So we walked to the like a hostel, where you have about 4 or 5 people sleeping in one room, like bed. So we went there, and fortunately, there was a room for me. So I got a bed there. We stayed there. I stayed for a day or a couple of days. After that, Mr. Moody told me that the best thing for me to do at the time was try and go to the Ghana Commission and see what help the Ghana High Commission could give me. So I decided, okay, they gave me the address and everything. So I went, to the Ghana High Commission. When I got there, they told me that the consular or the guy who was in charge of, in charge of the consular section, one Mr. Trimbarma, was the person I need to see. So I had to wait. It was, I think, on lunch or something, and I had to wait for him to come back. So Mr. Trimbarma came back and then asked me my mission. And I told him my story. That I came from Ghana, came from Monrovia, went to Ghana, and I came here now. I'm looking for places where I can learn photography. So if they could be able to help me. So Chimbama just sat for it a while, went back into his chair, and he said, look at my face. And then said, Mr. Ampa, your journey is improper. I remember the exact word he told me. Mr. Ampa, your journey is improper. There's two things we can do for you. Those two things you have to choose one. One, first that we can pay for your ticket to go back to Ghana. We seize your passport when you arrive, and when your parents pay for the ticket, the fare, your passport will be released to you. Or two, you can just walk out the door, out of the embassy door, and then go and fend for yourself. Do what you have to do. So I sat in the chair, slumped in the chair with these two decisions, balancing those two decisions. I didn't want to.
You need to be a smart guy.
Yeah, smart guy. I didn't want to go back to Ghana for my uncle to say that I told you, because when I left, I told you so. My uncle was
maybe he was even waiting to say that.
Yeah, because he even told people that he found whatever way possible to bring me back. So if I go there, this is what he's going to say. So I said, okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I'll see you. And I just got up and walked out. And then while I was getting out of the office, my head was just swimming. Going to Ghana is not an option. That's completely out of the way.
Yeah.
So the only thing is going out and friendship for yourself. This is a situation I've just been in born for 2 days. I don't know my left from my right. Where do I go to go and look for job? So I was thinking maybe go back to the hostel, see Mr. Moody, and then maybe talk to him, and maybe he'll be able to help you to find somewhere and then find a job or something. So I said to myself, okay. So I walked out. Just as I came out of the embassy building, directly opposite was a petrol station. This petrol station, they had a washing bay. So, I just look at the place and just say, nah, what do I do? These people are washing cars. Who knows? Let me go and find out. So I just walked straight across the road, went to the petrol station and the washing bay. Fortunately, the first person I spoke to, speak a little bit of English. So they took me to the manager and told him that I'm a student looking for, casual job or things like that. And then the guy said, yes, yeah, we're looking for someone. So if you want to, if you want a job, yeah, we can give you a job here. So I said, they asked me, okay, so when do you want to start? So I said, look, I'm ready. I want to start. I want to start now. So the guy said, no, this is the afternoon. So you go back and come back by 7 o'clock in the morning. If you get back here, we'll give you your overall your thing for you to start. So actually, if I have not remember rightly, I think it was probably on a Tuesday or Monday that day. So I just went back to the hostel and spoke to Mr. Moody and told him what has happened. He said, oh dear, these embassies, they know you at all. So you've taken the right decision. There's so many people who are doing this. And so, in those days too, Europe was not what it is today. There was no witch hunt. If you are working and you not get yourself into any trouble, things were very different from that. Europe in 1972 was completely different from Europe in 2022 or 2023.
So it means that those days, if you are able to enter Europe,
Yes.
then that's it.
That's it. If you're able to
You don't
enter,
need to think about
no, you know, I feel
any
if
disturbance.
you behave yourself properly, you don't get yourself into trouble.
Trouble.
You okay because nobody's going to hunt you or things like that. Now it's completely different. So I mean, I came the following day by 6 o'clock. I was at the petrol station. So I met this guy, and then they tell me what they have to do, and they give me an overall. I put on my overall, my everything, and then tell me what to do. So the way you want the cars come, you get in there, wipe, do what you have to do, show me everything. So I was doing that. Now around about 9:30 to 10 or something. As I was doing because I was facing directly facing the Ghana embassy. So Mr. Chumbarma was coming. I think he was coming to the office, and then he saw me. I just looked up my phone. He saw me. He just looked at me. He stared at me for about like it's like it's like forever, and then he started shaking his head. I said, "Well,
He didn't know what you
yeah,
wanted.
yeah, because almost like I told this guy to go and fend for himself. So now he's fending for himself.
Yeah.
So you know, I don't know. So I mean, he just shook his head one thing. I said, well, at least I found a job. The money they were giving me was not that good, but that was
Okay.
more than enough.
Yeah.
So we worked there. I worked there for about a few weeks, maybe about 3 4 weeks or so, and then I have to communicate with Peter to tell him that look, I've now found a place, I've now found a job I was doing, so you can come as
The
well.
road is clear.
The road is clear, you can come. So Peter also took the same route and then came to Bonn. So I had to go there, tell him when the train was coming and everything. So I went there, stood there, met him, and then brought him to the hostel, and he also got a room. So I took him also to the car place, but unfortunately there was no vacancy for him. He was able to find another place with Mr. Moody, a place they were working where they were picking, I think apples or something in one of the farms. So Peter also had a job, you know, he was doing. So I mean, after about a couple of months, they would say, look, we now arrive in Germany. Things are not okay. It's okay, a lot better than Germany. Yeah,
Vienna,
a little better
Austria.
than Vienna, but still, this is not our destination.
Yes.
We still have to move on. So we decided that we have to now try United Kingdom.
So
We'll try.
how many months or years did you stay in Germany?
Germany, I think with Germany about 3 months, 3 4 months. In
So
Germany,
that was so fast.
yes,
You moving.
yeah, moving from Bonn, from Vienna to Germany.
Germany.
It was about 3 to 4 months, and then we decided that we want to move on to UK. We've then decided that we've tried US, it didn't work. And some of our friends said they've tried Canada, it was very difficult. So we decided, look, we want to settle on the United Kingdom, go to the UK. So Peter went to
British.
the British Embassy to apply for visa, and he was refused. They put EC apply for in
Scary
Istanbul.
moment.
Scary moment. I said, Peter, hey, so if you be refused, what chance is it that I'm going to be accepted? If he be refused, I'm going to be refused. So we sat there, thought about it, and then there was few friends in the hostel who were also planning to travel. So there was some of them who were coaching us
Okay.
who have done the traveling before. They know people who have gone through. They know those others who have gone and been returned and things like that. So we're getting tidbits from them. So I decided, look, Peter, me, I'm not going to the High Commission. I'm not going to the British High Commission. I'm just going straight. So Peter said, hey, are you sure? We used to have
So it means you were trying to use the illegal way.
you're not illegal because at that time we knew that you didn't need a visa to go to the United Kingdom.
Okay.
At that time there was no, if as long as you are members of Commonwealth, you don't need a visa to go to the United Kingdom. But it's safer to apply to get a visa. But if you go there without a visa and you are able to explain yourself, you can go. So the alternative was me going to the High Commission and being refused, or taking my chance and then going without a visa. So I decided, look, I think I'm not going to I'm not going to the embassy. So me and Peter, we sat down, we planned everything. You know, I decided that we're going to leave. So I went to Frankfurt.
So Only you were living.
Yes. So
Okay.
I left Peter. I mean, I was the only one who was going, because I always thought if the two of us go together and then we all turn back or something happens, so it's better. And Peter is always listening to me. Peter is a little bit timid. He was, a bit naive and certain things. So I thought, look, let me do the necessary. Let me take the lead. So again, I decided, look, Peter, we sat down there, we had our conversation and all those stuff and everything. I told Peter, I said, look, I have to leave. So I decided that I'm going. I got my, the what do you call it, the certificate, the Austrian,
Australia.
no, the admission letter from University of
Okay, okay,
Austria.
okay.
I still have that. So my plan was to tell them, look, I'm just going for holiday, and then from now I'll go back to Austria to do my degree, and then do my studies in Vienna. So I got in the plane from what is it from um, Frankfurt Airport. I remember Frankfurt Airport, and then got it straight to Heathrow Airport. So when I got up, I came in front of the High Commission. By that time, when things are, Mr. Moody had a cousin in UK. So Mr. Moody told me, now, look, if you go, if anything, contact my cousin. Go there, he'll be able to help you out. But the address of Mr. Moody's cousin, I don't need to have it anywhere on me. Because if they search, and if I tell them I don't know anybody, because you have to tell them, if you say you know somebody, that's another matter altogether. But if you say you don't know anybody, and the trouble is that then they're not going to ask you, oh, who is this and who is that. So I have to chew the address in my head. I have to sit down about 3 or 4 days, over and over and over and over, just to memorize the address, everything in my head. So when I got to the airport at Heathrow, they asked me, yes, I said, look, sir, I'm from Ghana. And Britain is our, a former colony. We've learned everything about Britain, learned everything about the Buckingham Palace, about what do you call it, about the Tower of London. I learned almost all the, what do you call it, uh, um, the tourist points in London. So I have to chew everything in my head, tell them all these places of interest. And I just came in here to have a look at this place before I go back to Vienna to do my studies. So my eager to see London, Britain, and familiarize myself with the things I've learned about Britain. But the guy told me, so do I need anywhere or do I have somewhere I'm going to stay? I said, no, I don't go anywhere to stay. So if you can suggest some hotels that I can stay that are cheaper. All these are all coaches, things that have been coached in Germany before leaving. So the guy said, okay, but only if you go to town, told me 1 or 2 places you can get a reasonably cheap hotels to stay. So okay, I'm going to give you 1 month. I said, oh, I mean 1 month. I don't even need 1 month. We're going to stay for a couple of weeks. So we give you 1 month. So they gave me 1 month. Once I came out of the airport, I was just standing there. Where do I
My
go?
final destination,
Final
here I come.
destination. Final destination. Here I come. Where do you go? What do you do? So I mean, I just look at myself. So what do I do? Then I have to get a piece of paper and then write Mr. Moody's cousin's address
Yes.
on a piece of paper. I took a black cab from London airport. Cost me a lot of money at the time but I had enough money for me to pay. So then the taxi driver took me straight to Mr. Moody's cousin's house in a place called Stoke Newington, which I later come to know so much about Stoke Newington. So when I got there, Mr. Moody's he was not there, but his girlfriend, and he had a white girlfriend, an English girl. So I told him that I came from Germany, blah blah blah. I explained to him Mr. Moody's cousin. He said, okay, well, give me someone to say. Then gave me a cup of tea. That his boyfriend will be coming very soon. So when the boyfriend came, well, I've forgotten even his name. He had a Nigerian, a Yoruba name. I forgot. So this man came and sat down and explained to me. I mean, I asked me my mission, and I explained everything to him. He was a bit upset why Mr. Moody would give me his number, his address for me to come, and that he's staying with his girlfriend in one room, so they were renting only one room. So there's nothing they can do. The only thing they can do is to keep me. I mean, with me, I'll sleep in the couch in the living room, and then the following day you will send me to the Ghana embassy and how to get there and everything. I said thank you very much. At least at least give him somewhere so I can move on. So he gave me a place to stay in the living room, and I remember that very much. I stayed there for that afternoon. It was a Saturday. It was even a football match of the day was on. And I remember that vividly. Leeds United against Manchester United. It was very a vivid moment. So I mean, I slept that day. The following morning, before Mr. Moody's person left for work, he gave me, he wrote the address of the Ghana High Commission, telephone number, how to get to the station, to take the train to the place in South Kensington and everything. Wrote everything very nice. He did very, very well. I thank him very much. Got my suitcase and then left. Got the bus he told me to take to go to Finsbury Park Station, take a train, underground, which we call a tube. From Finsbury Park Station, that took me straight to South Kensington. I got down and I asked, all was in the letter. They showed me the Queen's Gate, which is where 38 Queen's Gate, where Ghana the consulate was.
So, what was the main mission of going to the consulate? Like,
So the idea was that I'm a Ghanaian, and if you want me to go to a consulate, maybe they will help me to find a place to stay, because I think there was two things. One, he wanted to get rid of me,
yes,
but in getting rid of me, he had to try and help me as much as possible to find a destination where I need to go. So he did very well, and I think with hindsight, I believe it's not because of the girlfriend. You probably have kept me for a couple of days,
sure.
and because also that they were staying in one bedroom, so it was very difficult for me to stay with them for any length of time. So I decided, okay. So he told me, I just took the document, the letter he wrote for me, and then took the train from Finsbury Park to South Kensington, and then got out, and then walked to Queen's Gate, which is only about 10 minutes walk. So I got to number 38, and then went in there, and then spoke to what was the social worker, like those who was in charge of social. His name was Mr. Buckman, and Mr. Buckman I had a chief from Cape Coast. So we sat down there and I explained to him my mission and everything. And he told me, oh, okay, it's all right. It's a bit difficult, but we'll try and help you to find a way to stay. But there's a Ghana hostel, what used to be the Yeneba House, a place in Krumah bought so many years ago. So Ghanaian students, when they go there, was almost like a transit point. You go there, stay there for a couple of weeks, and then you can go to your university or wherever you're going. So they took me there.
So, is that place still over there?
Not now, not now. They've sold it. I think the place was sold during I think Rawlins's time or something like that. It was sold. Kuma bought it. It was a very good place.
Very good place.
Yeah, very good place, which were helping a lot of people. But I stayed there, so I went there, and then Mr. Buckman also, because he was a social person, he was also in charge of that hostel. So he goes to the embassy. He has an office there, and he comes to the hostel, which was actually his home there. So he came back and then from work, and then met me again and gave me a place to stay. And also after stay about a few days, Mr. Buckman helped me to work in a bar. They had a bar there, so I used to work and clean the bars and do certain things from there. So I was there for about 3 weeks to a month, and I realized, look, at least I've now arrived. So I'm staying at Collingham Gardens, this Yeneba house. So I sent a letter to Peter. Peter, look, I've arrived. So this is what's happened. So if you want to come, you must also come and then get yourself So somebody suggested to Peter that this British High Commission, sometimes if you go there and they reject it, they put the EC apply for. If you go back later, sometimes you're able to give you and explain yourself properly. So Peter, got a lot more coaching, some of the things you need to say and everything. And Peter went there, the High Commission again, and the High Commission actually gave me a visa. He was as a Sierra Leone. He was a Sierra Leonean. So he also is a friend, what is it called, Commonwealth country. So they gave him a visa. And Peter, when he received my letter, I gave him an address where I live and everything. So he came, when he got to a Heathrow Airport, he took a taxi and came straight to the Yaniba house. So he came and joined me. He also got a place to stay. So we arrived, and after a few months or so, we decided that we have to find ourselves a place to live. So me and Peter went to rent a place, a room in South Kensington, and this is about 5 minutes walk from the Yeniba house. So one bedrooms, but two bed sits. So two of us wanted to hide the place and then started staying there. And then later on, we find a job at a hotel, which was not very far also from the Yeniba and from where we're living, London International Hotel. So I started there, and then Peter came and joined me. We started working there. So we eventually realized that we now arrived at the place we want to be.
This is where we want to stay.
This is where we want to stay. So now, going forward, we have to find a way to regularize our stay and make our life comfortable, and then got the things that we needed to do.
So when you got to UK, you never thought that, oh, okay, this is where we wanted to be, and now we are not enjoying this place, so we want to go back to another place or move on to another place. Did you ever?
No, we will never, because when we arrived in UK, things were different compared to Germany and Austria. UK, as I said, the Ghana High Commission, and there's a lot more black people. So you want to move around UK, you don't feel like, although Germany wasn't as bad as Austria. Austria, you hardly find black people. I remember one time we were even going to a supermarket and see some of these white boys following us, looking at the kind of things we put in our basket,
Okay.
what we are eating. And there's one time we're in a train, or I mean what they call a tram. One small boy came and the actual Peter, you actually robbing Peter. He thought what they would say, death on Peter or something. And the guy one was telling mom, mama, cook mine, that try nigger. Mother, look, two Negroes. But in Germany it wasn't like that. Although Germany was not, but Germany was better. But England, London was completely different. London, we felt at home because the Yaniba house, everybody there was Ghanaian, and then you have some few Nigerians coming there to spend time. So once we arrived there, we realized, this now we are okay here. And again, those days there was no witch hunting. So once you start, maybe find a school and then get your papers regularized, because as I say, we only give me one month. They gave Peter also 1 month. So we've stayed there. After about 6 months, we realized that we have to find a way to get our papers.
So what's the way? What's the way? Like, what did you think about to get the papers?
Getting the papers then on those days, the thing you do is that because they brought an amnesty that those who have been in there for 5 years, they will try and get the regulars will stay for you at that time. Yeah. At that, or if you marry somebody who is British. So the idea is either we have to wait for 5 years to get to have our stay regularized, or you find somebody who is British to do your papers for you. So we thought, that was going to be very difficult. So, and plus, again, there was no witch hunt. They were not chasing you. As long as you were, don't get into any trouble. There was no problem. I remember one time, Mr. Bokman was very angry because they came to the place, they were looking for somebody who committed a crime. So they have this, the police have a way of what they call identity parade. So they have the suspect, and they find some black people. There's a black, they found other black people, maybe about 5, 6, 7, or maybe 10 black people, and then put that guy in there amongst those people. And they accept the person who knows to come and see if we can pick. And we went there. When we came back, Mr. Buckman was very angry. He said, "Hey, look at these boys, you haven't got papers. And police come and call you for identity parade and you go. Are you looking to go back to Ghana?" But then even nothing happens. They pick the person, whatever, and nothing happens. So we stayed. And as I say, the AE said, what happened? We have to stay until we've spent 5 years or 6 years, and then we're trying to get our papers regularized. And that's why I got my indefinite stay. And Peter eventually also got his.
Have you regretted taking that step to get to United Kingdom?
No, not at all, because that's what I thought. I mean, what we did was probably the right thing, going to United States, going to and the United Kingdom. I don't know what the situation would have been different in America or different in Canada, but hey, we were in the United Kingdom, so you have to make most of it. So now I don't regret. I've done everything and then lived there all these years. I've been home regularly. So, I mean, we don't regret anything. I think it's the decision we took was perhaps the best decision we could have taken.
So let's say if there are young guys in Africa or Ghana, and these young guys are willing to travel abroad just to find a dinner pastor, would you advise them to go, or you think they should probably stay in Ghana and find something to do so they can better their lives over here?
Yeah, I mean, that question is a bit difficult in the sense that the Europe that we went to is completely different. It's completely different now. As I said, those days you can go there, even Germany, you can. When I was traveling from Vienna to Bonn, the immigration officer just asked me, where are you coming from? I said, from Ghana. So I took my passport. Once he saw Republic of Ghana, he didn't even open it to check whether I've got a visa or not, whether even the passport has expired. The moment he saw Republic of Ghana, but now things are different. So now, if you are a young man, you want to try, I think you have to do your homework well, and then know that you have basis of going where you want to go. It's not like these days also because of work situation. There's a lot of chance. People, the unemployment situation is bad everywhere else. So once you go there and you haven't got papers, it's a lot more difficult. So I would say for youngsters who want to do travel these days, do your research very, very well. Don't let people. Sometimes I hear stories about people. They say middleman charging youngsters huge sums of money that will do A, will do B, will do C, and so the moment they put in a plane, once the plane leaves, that's it. When you go there, you have to get yourself. I mean, speak to the immigration officers and get through. If you don't get through, they have done your job. You lost all that money. So my advice to youngsters: look, the way things were during my time is completely different. So if you have a situation here, look at other alternatives. See what you can do. If traveling is the only alternative, then make your preparation well enough to know that you have a second buffer. So if plan A doesn't work, at least you can fall on plan B. Don't put all your eggs into one basket. Well, you'll be very disappointed. You might go there, get returned back, and you've lost everything. So my advice is, think about this seriously. And if that's what you want to do, make your plans properly. And also question when people are going to help you, ask questions. Ask questions, let them give you answers. Because there's always two sides to everything. If A doesn't happen, B will happen. If A happens, what do I do? And if B happens, what do I do? You must have answers to both situations. That if B happens, this is what I'm going to do. If B happens, this is what I'm going to do. But if you still think that B will not happen, only A will happen. So when A happen, I will do this, I will do that, I will do that. And if A doesn't happen and B happen, you're stuck.
Yes.
It's like a flow chart. When you draw a flow chart, you have to cover all the angles because the situation might change. If you don't go right, it doesn't go left. So plan and make sure that you think through the whole situation and see that if you are going to Ghana, if somebody is asking you to give me 250 million, as somebody just told me that they will do a connection to get you to Europe, and look at 250 million Ghana cedis, and you don't think that they cannot guarantee you anything. The only guarantee maybe you get that they will give you visa and everything. But when you arrive in the destination, there's no guarantee you get through. And even if you get through, there's no guarantee that you're going to get a job. Your situation might be difficult. Think about it. Can I maybe use that 250 million to do something here? And then work with it and see what happens. So me, that's advice I would give to people. Our days was completely different. Europe was a different Europe. Now it's different. They all I remember those days when you look at things like working in a hotel, the menial jobs that we were doing, the white guys were not doing it. But now they're all fighting with you for the menial jobs that you are doing. If you sweep on the street, there are white guys who are fighting with you to sweep on the street. So it's completely different.
So it's all about planning.
Planning,
Planning.
all about planning, and then making sure that you know what you want. Mm. And if you plan, as I said, always have the plan A and B. If A doesn't succeed, you fall on B. But if you think only A will happen and that doesn't happen, then you're stuck. So I think you should always plan and know that the Europe that people talk about is not as rosy as it is today. So people sometimes go there for months on end, they can't find jobs. They have to rely on others, for job. Whereas during our times, they even begging you for the job because I remember we used to work in 2, 3 different jobs. Because you go to a hotel, go and work in the morning. Afternoon, you go to another hotel, go and work because they want somebody to wash the plates, somebody to sweep, so many different things. But today, those kind of jobs, the engineers, the nationals of that country are fighting over it with you. So the situation is completely different.
So now let's chip this inside. So guys, almost everybody calls him honorable. Almost, including me. So I would like him to tell us why he is being called honorable. Then I have some other few questions for him too on that.
Okay. Well, I mean, they call me honorable because in the year 2002, I joined the NDC, the National Democratic Congress Party, and I was elected as the ward chairman of Gomoy of Yinyan Ward. So, 2004 elections, again, I was elected as a parliamentary candidate for NDC at Gomo East. So I fought with the president, the late president Atamils as our candidate. And unfortunately, I lost very, narrowly. But 2004, 2008, I decided I was not going to contest again. And I supported the party and we had a campaign and everything. And then this won. So 2009, the late president Atamils appointed me as the DCE for Gomo East. So during the DC elections and everything, that's where the honorable business started coming in. People call you honorable because you've been nominated by the late president to be the district chief executive for Gomo East. And so I went in there for the contest but you have to be approved by majority of the assembly members at that time. And at the time I was appointed, MPP had ruled Ghana from 2000 to 2004, 2008 when they lost. So the assembly had the majority of MPP guys at the assembly. So I mean, that was very difficult trying to get through them. When you are paying them to do what they need to do to vote for you, there was somebody else who was paying them what they call losing bonus, so they can vote against you, so they can bring that person. That all that shenanigan, the machinations went on, and then so I didn't get the I lost the vote at the assembly at that time.
So
So
what really inspired you to be into politics, to get into politics?
one of the reasons was that I've always been a political animal. I always believe, I mean, I would like to do things to help people. You see, I mean, I wanted to, and I felt, yes, on my own, I can do things to help people that I want. I was helping people with the school fees and all this and that I was doing. But when you have a political backing with you, you'll be able to do a lot more.
That would be more
Yeah, be able to lobby things and do things for your constituency, for your constituents. That's what I decided I want to get in politics. Plus, as I said, I've always had politics, maybe politics with a small p on me. That's what I wanted to do. That's why I wanted to get in there, see what I can do to help my community. Because I realized that at that time, the Gomo is even now very, deplorable state of affairs in the constituency. A lot of things need to be done. You go to some of the communities, they were telling me about the kind of water they were drinking and the roads they have and the no, what do you call it, no medical facilities and things like that. And I thought if I'm able to get a support of a party behind me or with a seat as a member of parliament, I'll be able to do a lot and lot of things for people. That's why I went in there. That's why I decided that maybe politics is a vehicle I can use to help others. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. But now I still have the way behind me to do what I need to do. So politics is now behind me, but I'm still in there to try to help people as much as I can.
So do you regret entering into politics and getting disappointed by people?
Oh, I mean, I don't regret. I've never regretted anything in life. All these things happen for a reason. Because politics also opened my eyes to see that the kind of politics we do in Ghana is not the kind of politics I was used to in the United Kingdom. Because in the UK, I was a member of the Labour Party. I used to go do canvassing, campaigning for parties. You don't give people money. When you do all this, you only give you tea and biscuit. And then you come here, you find out things are
People are
different.
demanding
Yeah,
money.
they're demanding money. But then you can understand. If you want somebody to go and do a campaign for you, maybe that whole day the person hasn't got anything to eat. So you have to resource the person, feed them, give them something that rather they'll have the energy to go and do what they have to do for you. What I didn't like and what disappointed me was the dishonesty about people politics. People want to get into politics. That if you go to politics, I remember some of our campaign. Somebody was telling me, Mr. Ample, look, if they say they want, tell them you can do. They say they want this road, tell them what you can do. They want the hospital, tell them you can, we build it. If you come and you don't build it, they won't do anything to you. I said, no, 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 no. I
They
mean,
want you to lie.
no, because what I'm saying is me, I will not tell you what I cannot do.
That's it.
Plus, also, I've read the Constitution. I know what MP is possible, is able to do, and what is the government or the state, a responsibility to do. So my job is to lobby and get project for my constituent. But I cannot say when I come, I will build a hospital because it's not within my power to do that. I can't tell when I come, I will asphalt the whole Yinyanu road to Kaswa. It's not within my power to do. So I will not do that. And also people will do that. That's the one thing that got me. Maybe I look at the politics in Africa, not only Ghana. In Africa is there is honesty and people speaking with double tongue. They will tell you I'll do this, I'll support you when they're actually supporting somebody else. Because imagine somebody who's got one vote and you go and tell four different people I'll vote for you, I'll vote when you can only vote for one person. Those things were very difficult. But apart from that, I don't feel any regret because it also opened my eyes so many different things in life, in politics and outside politics.
So do you have a will, let's say another time or someday, do you will to enter into politics again?
No, I don't have any aim to enter mainstream politics. But at the moment, I'm still an NDC man. If you cut my blood, if you cut me, the blood that will come is an NDC blood. So I will NDC till I die. I support the party, and I believe it is the only party the vehicle that we can use to transform Ghana. That I believe. But me getting into frontline politics, no. I have different fish to fry.
You've retired from
I've
politics.
retired from politics completely, but I will still campaign for my party when the need come for me to. I will campaign for them, but not on the front line or looking for positions or whatever. And no, I've other things in life to think about.
There is one thing that I really admired about you. You know, you see, there are people in life, even when you do good to them, they still pay you back in a wrong way.
Yes.
You are one person that people have been doing that to you a lot. You help people, even in the political scene, you help people. And in the end, they go around you and do the wrong things to you. But you still keep helping people. What's really inspires you to keep doing the good that people don't appreciate? I don't understand.
Well, a lot of people ask me this question but what you are saying that is true. But I have a belief that there's a good in every individual. So if somebody done something bad to you, okay, maybe the person that done something bad to you doesn't mean that maybe you can keep on repeating that those things. So it doesn't mean that if you can help the person, don't help the person. I have a different and then plus also I don't hold grudges. I believe if my mind is free about thinking anything negative about any individual, I'm a better person for that. So I don't keep grudges. So even now, as you said, some of these boys, political uh, players who have done bad things to me, they still come to me. And somebody say that, oh, I mean, look, what are you doing? And somebody don't even want to open the door to them. But I always say, no, let them come. Because they themselves have realized what they did is bad. So there's good in every human being. So I don't hold grudges about anybody. I always say that, look, if that did this, but if the person, for example, if somebody is done very bad to you, a bad thing to you, and the person is coming back to you, that person must have then realized that this guy, I didn't behave well towards him, or I didn't, you know, do right to I
Yes,
didn't
Bell.
I didn't do right to this individual. So they've maybe sat down, realized, they were wrong, and then they come back and then somebody seeking for forgiveness and everything. I mean, I forgive everybody. Whatever you do for me, I don't hold anything on anybody. It doesn't matter what you've done. There are people, even some of my friends and my relatives, don't even want to see them in my house. I remember last time when I came last year, there's a guy who came here. My nephew nearly drove him out. He nearly would have a stick. He wanted to beat him up and drive him. I said, leave him, leave him, leave him. Leave him alone, let him come. For him to, after all what he's done, to come and ring your bell and then come inside here, something must have told him that, look, I did wrong. So let me. So if they will repent and do something, maybe from what they've done to me, they will do differently to others. So, but that's one thing I believe we should all be free our minds on certain things, because when you thinking about people so much, I don't think it helps your psyche. It helps your human mind. Don't keep things in your head. That's me. Whatever comes happens and it goes. Tomorrow is another day. I don't have any grudge about anybody. I don't have any negative feeling about anybody. Whatever you've done. It's past. I don't think about it. Let's see what tomorrow will bring.
Okay, Uncle, thank you so much for this conversation. To me, it's a privilege that you are on my channel right now because, like I said, I've always wanted to have this conversation, and we having it on my channel, it's really a great thing for me. So I'll say thank you so much,
Thank you.
and I
Thank you.
really appreciate it. But before we go, I would like you to give some advice to people out there, both the young and the old. Anything advisable that you want to give to them in life.
Thank you very much, Cricket Traveler, for me to give me the opportunity to say these things and then discuss my life and then the things we've been through. My advice to youngsters is it's very important that you focus on what you want to do. And I also say that life at the moment is very, very, crucial in life, that whatever you want to do, make sure you have the education behind you. Some years gone back, you can get in certain positions with next to nothing. But these days, there are people with even degrees and masters, they find it difficult to get to any place. So the most important thing for a youth or for a youngster is to try and again knowledge. Trying to gain knowledge, qualifications. Once you have those qualifications, wherever you go, nobody can open your head and take them out. So that in case you go somewhere and things doesn't work out, either you have that qualifications or you have some training behind you. Because I don't like some people you talk about, they've just finished SS and they want to travel, they want to do whatever they want to do. I don't think this is proper. I think you should get maybe a degree behind you or get a training. I don't know, electrical, plumbing, whatever. So in case you go somewhere and you have difficulty, that particular thing you have to be able to help you to get on in life. Don't rely on anything and take things for granted. And also, as I said earlier, when you are planning, when you think about the bad, when you think about the good, think about the bad as well. To make sure that you don't get stranded, that you are now left for worse, you don't know what to do. So it's important to get your back and know that exactly what you want to do in life and then plan properly. When you plan, if you don't plan, you plan to lose. I mean, if you don't plan, you plan to lose. So it's very important that you plan so that whatever you go in, you know what you have at the back of you could sustain you. Even if you haven't got money, you go to an area and you apply that wisdom you got, either educational background or maybe training to support you in wherever you are.
Thank you so much, Uncle. So, guys, this is an episode of Strive with Mellow. And if you are new here, kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel, like the video, leave a comment, tell us what you learned from this video, but make sure you keep it clean without any insults. Share the video for someone else to see. And if you're already a subscriber, like you know how we do it, I salute you guys and I thank you so much. Your boy Melody, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No more. If you know make money, friends go dog you. Nobody self go love you. You first step up your hustle, cause one day you gonna make it. If you know make money, friends go dog you. Nobody self go love you. You first step up your hustle.